Okay, good evening. Welcome to the GTA Board Candidate Forum. My name is Kyle Doria. I'm the president of the Gilroy Teachers Association. GTA would like to thank the candidates for participating in our forum, as well as the folks who are watching us via the recording. We're going to start with Area 4. And for Area 4, our moderators will be William Chavez from Gilroy High School and Haley Saldana from Kelly Elementary. Uh, Our goal tonight is to provide an opportunity for the candidates to introduce themselves and to uh, our members and community to outline their vision for making Gilroy Unified an excellent place for students, educators, and families to work in. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer each question. Candidates, please try to keep the time limit so we can make it through all our questions. We would like to emphasize that this is not a debate between the candidates, but rather a forum for them to introduce themselves and outline their vision for Gilroy Unified School District. Um, all right, we're gonna go ahead and with that being said, we'll be starting alphabetically and then rotate thereafter who answers first. Okay, so um, we're gonna start with the first question.
All right. Question one. We're going to start with Jane Stevens. Tell us about yourself.
I'm doing the first question. Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Sorry.
What particular experiences or skills have prepared you to serve as Gilroy Unified Board member? And why did you decide to run for the board?
You were cut off the first part. Could you repeat it? I'm sorry.
I could. Tell us about yourself. What particular experiences or skills have prepared you to serve as Gilroy Unified Board member? And why did you decide to run for the board?
Okay. My name is Jane Stevens. I'm campaigning currently for trustee area 4 for the school board. I've raised 4 children and 4 grandchildren, and 2 of whom are still in the school district. My background is I'm a retired registered nurse, but I still hold a valid license. But prior to nursing, I was a business major and I worked in that field for a number of years. So I have a background, a varied background. The reason that I would like to run for this position because I see the picture and think of what might be workable to improve our district. I think a fresh set of eyes isn't a bad thing. And I do have the experience and the knowledge, and having been in this community for all these years, I've seen a lot of changes. I'm also very willing to learn. I've already been doing some research, meeting with some of the teachers, talking with other board members. So I've gotten a feel for what's going on and the issues that are involved. And I think that's probably about it. Okay.
Should I jump in or how do you?
Yeah.
All right. So thank you again for inviting me here tonight. My name is Trevor VanLaar, and I'm also campaigning for District 4. I have 4 kids, 3 of which have graduated now Gilroy High as of last June. This last week, I dropped off 1 at Long Beach, 1 at Fresno State, and next week I'll drive across the country to New York with my oldest for her orthoptics fellowship. So by all means, Gilroy High has done well for at least 3 of my 4 kids. The last one only has a couple years to go. When I was kind of through my kids, all the different activities, whether it was volleyball, whether it was track, whether it was swimming, whether it was water polo, FFA, band, and whatever other activities they had, my wife and I both got pretty involved in their lives. Wanted to make sure that they could experience that and support the different teams and the different activities that they were a part of. When we moved here in 2007, we started our first child in 2009 at Rod Kelly, and we both kind of agreed that we wanted to be a part of their education as much as we could. So my wife kind of jumped in on the parent club side of things, and I jumped in on more of the administrative kind of things. So I was been a part of school site council through Rod Kelly, South Valley, and Gilroy High for about 7 to 8 years, and on the SPAC for about another 5 to 6 years, give or take, through again all 3 of those schools. Let's see, I've been a part of the LCAP planning for the 3 different schools. Been a parent rep for the design of South Valley Middle School remodel when that happened. Was a part of the GUSD strategic plan as a community member in April of 25 when that came about. I've been Santa Claus for the Rucker Santa Claus breakfast for 2 years now. Attended CABE in 2024 with South Valley Middle School staff as well. And for that last 3 years, I've also been a coach for one of the FFA teams. Community-wise, I've been an instructor for Leadership Gilroy for about 9 years. I recently let that go when I became the president of the Garlic Festival, and then was treasurer for Visit Gilroy, and now currently president as well. And I'm also a member of Rotary and Chamber. Mentioning that because I have many connections out in the community, a fair finger on what's going on with a lot of different schools and a lot of different areas here in town. And lastly, why did I run for this board? Really just a sense of giving back. Now that my kids are moving on to college, my wife and I both have a little bit more time to give back to the school district. I think I both have the experience, I have the education, and I have the wisdom to be a decent board member. Looking to work together as well as we can as a board, fight for those things that we need to fight for, and to continue to agree on things we need to agree on and move on. So with that, that's basically why I'd like to become a board member for GUSD.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to question 2 with Mr. Chavez.
So for question 2, I'm going to start with Mr. VanLaar and move on to Ms. Stevens. The question reads, what are the top 3 challenges in Gilroy Unified right now? What specifically would you do to address them if elected? I'm going to start with Mr. VanLaar, and then Ms. Stevens may respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. I think number one issue is finances. I don't think we can get away from that. We have a school district that needs more finances, both for facilities and for staff. The question is, how does that happen? It seems like GUSD is fairly locked down legally as to what they can use. So I do believe that GUSD needs to get more creative somehow and figure out how to either raise another source of revenue, or if they need to try to just look outside the box. I know it's been tried before. I have a great respect for Alvaro Mesa. I know he has done a pretty good job of managing, but sometimes I know that when your job is to say no for finances all the time, you kind of get into a strategy where you start hoarding money aside. So I think we need to do a better job of kind of balancing the amount of money we have kept in reserve versus the amount of money we spend out. How would we do that? Again, I don't know. I'd like to brainstorm a few people and come up and see how there is a way we can come up with more revenue. The second thing is facilities. I know that GUSD has put together a large bond. They're trying to go to vote this year to see if we can repair some of the elementary schools now and a few other small projects. The junior highs, the high schools, they're pretty good now at this point in time. But again, having in past and presently taking care of facilities and a campus of my own, it is easy to see when facilities start falling apart, it can spiral very quickly and get out of control, and it becomes emergency repairs that are more expensive and take more time. Lastly, just that I think, staff, 2 issues with staff as well, is enrollment decreases. If we've seen enrollment decrease, we've seen special education or student services start to increase. So as we see those 2 things happen, by and large, that means that we are spending more money on specialized staff or on student services, and there's less for sometimes teachers. Lastly, just adequate compensation. Teachers, I watched my wife when she worked in the district sit through IEPs and 504s, and the amount of time and effort that takes to both write those up and to sit through those. As positive as those are, we need to figure out a way to compensate adequately the amount of workload that teachers have. Sometimes classes might have 1 or 2 cases. Sometimes they might have 5 or 6 cases. And those are big differences to teachers, I think. So with that, those are the few different issues I see that need to be addressed.
Okay. I think the issue with the teacher hiring and retention is our main problem right now. Teachers do not have competitive salaries. They cannot live in the area because of those salaries. It's a very costly area, and we really need to look at that. Our teachers are a foundation of our school system, our children, but they can't operate without the teachers. So we really need to work on making that doable and look at teacher retention. We need to review the budget and look at where the wastes are, what we can cut and what we can eliminate. The contract hiring was appalling. I looked at how many contracts were being reviewed at the last board meeting, and I was pretty shocked because there's just way too many contract help being hired, and that's not only just a waste of monies, it's very costly, but the retraining of those individuals, and they don't stay in the position for long, but the retraining is a burden for the staff, the teachers, and it's very difficult for the students. I really would like to see that we seriously do some recruiting and we make this a desirable place, more attractive for us. We can hire some teachers that are going to want to stay, and quality teachers. The next issue, I think, is our special ed. Special ed seems to be an area where they cut. I know special ed is costly, but I have a kind of a soft spot for special ed. I'm an advocate for both my grandchildren. I remain very involved in the schools, although my children have been out for a number of years. I've stayed involved, and right now it's being an advocate for my two grandchildren. I see that those resources are not there, and that needs to be looked at so we can provide the education for these children so they can go on and be productive citizens. Just because they're special ed doesn't mean they can't go out and graduate and be like every other child. Most of them will be able to be that. The last thing that I'm a little concerned about is our school safety, safety on campus, the traffic. Just about every school in this district has a traffic issue with pickup and drop off. And, you know, we had the tragedy last year. I know some things have improved, but it's particularly bad at the high school and the middle school. And we need some traffic guards out there monitoring the traffic. So that's a concern. And then ICE in our community, and the possibility of ICE being in our community even more so. I'm concerned, and I'm concerned how this is going to impact our schools and our school attendance. Okay.
Thank you. All right, we're now going to move to question 3 back with Mrs. Saldana.
I can't hear you, Kyle.
Oh, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're going to move now to question 3 with our moderator, Ms. Saldana.
All right, question 3 is about learning conditions. Gilroy Unified currently has some of the largest class sizes in Santa Clara County. If elected, what class sizes would you like to see in TK through 3rd, 4th and 5th grade, middle school, and high school? Explain why.
TK and third is a very challenging area. First, especially TK and kinder, they're probably a little more established by the time these kids are in 3rd grade. I think that the size shouldn't be any more from 21 to 24 in those grades. These children come in with all backgrounds. Oftentimes, if they haven't had TK, they're not ready for kinder. They're just not prepared. And many of them have never been away from home. So the teachers are dealing with a lot of challenges, and the children aren't used to sitting in a chair all day. So class size needs to be manageable. Your 4th and 5th graders, they can probably tolerate, I think a 22 to 26 class size is probably doable if you are not faced with too many of the IEPs or the 504s and all the other issues that go along with teaching in a classroom in our community. We have so many different backgrounds. You have English as a second language, and you're going to be faced with so much of that in each classroom. So I really do believe we need to try to keep those numbers lower. We get into high school or middle school, probably 30 students. Again, that may not always be manageable depending on what is going on with that child. And this is where you start to see some behavior issues. And so 30 may not even be the set point, but I'm kind of picking that as a number. And maybe high school 32, you hope by the time they get to high school that they do know how to act in a classroom and they know how to pay attention and be independent. But again, that may not always be the case. All right.
So just to jump in on my turn, we're talking about learning conditions. There's a couple of things. One, from personal experience, my children went through the dual immersion courses. And as they did that, by and large, those were almost a set amount of kids throughout at least elementary school. I believe 24 to 26 kids per class. And the second part of that is that they went through, because of the size of the class and because of the nature of the class, they went through almost in the same cohort of kids. And so two things out of that I learned is one, definitely those smaller size classrooms are easier to teach. It's something that's a little easier to handle. It's a way that you can kind of really set aside time to kind of see where these kids' challenges are and where you can help them learn. And then as well as with the kind of the going through the same cohort as a learning experience. Well, it helped the kids to make friends that kind of lasted throughout school. To both see who was there to support them other than the teacher, as well as people to just kind of hang out with. As we get through the grades, obviously 24, 25, that's a lot of kids even for kindergarten. As we looked at all the different sizes in the MOU from 24 to 26, they're all kind of sizable classes. Can I give you a number particularly? No, but do they need to drop by a percentage? Yes. I think most classes need to drop by about 5% if possible. That would knock at least 2 to 3 kids out of most counts up and down the course load there. With a long history of being with kids and having my own time as a where I taught kids, it is hard to maintain their attention the larger the group gets. You have to do some kind of circus tricks to make sure you keep their attention and keep discipline and adequately teach them. So definitely the size of classrooms need to continue down if possible. But that also affects other things such as budget, facilities, where are the answers to those things? That kind of comes with some of the other decisions that need to be made by the board as well. So with that, I would like to see all those kind of, again, diminished by about 5% if possible.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to question 4 now. Back to Mr. Chavez.
Question 4, it's on academic performance. We'll start with Mr. VanLaar and then Ms. Stevens can jump in. So the question reads, school districts in California, including Gilroy Unified, provide public education to the most diverse student population in the nation. If elected, how would you improve services to English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, foster youth, homeless students, students of color, or students with disabilities?
I think GUSD in one sense has the answer, but they need to throw a little bit more support behind it. A couple examples, Gilroy High, getting to know Dr. Davis, he has done an excellent job with the EL learners. But for him, it is more than just the job of showing up and teaching them going home. I see how passionate it is, how much he cares for the kids, how much he gets to know the kids. And then on some other levels, more towards elementary, some of the different TOSAs I know that are working, working throughout the other grade levels. The secret sauce that I think works for some of those people I know is their consistency. They're not just a one and done. They don't come for 1 year, leave the next, but it's an ongoing commitment for them. We need more people like these. We need people that love kids desperately and that will support their families, their communities, and their school through that as well. Teachers need it so they can make diversify delivery curriculum as well to a student's needs. Having those different specialists at the fingertips of teachers allows teachers to focus on the rest of the classroom when they're otherwise distracted with particularly maybe one student that needs help. And maybe those specialists can help kind of push that ahead. So as we're talking about disadvantaged students, foster youth, homeless students, students of color, or students with disabilities, kind of any one of them, GUSD needs to find or be willing to hire a few more specialists outside of the teaching classroom that can help pull those people out one-on-one or in a group to help educate them as well.
Okay. So there's no doubt that there's a lot of challenges involved in providing an equal education to students of all these different backgrounds. I'd like to see, one of the areas that I know that's been very beneficial is that we have Power School in our district. And that's been a great resource for a lot of children that parents work. And I'm guessing that a lot of them from the socioeconomic issues, their background, and some of these disadvantaged children, that Power School can really be a good place for them to learn, to have a place that's safe after school. I'd like to see that program expanded. In fact, they're actually been decreasing it. I'm not happy about that. But I'd like to see it expanded, and maybe we could put some of that after school education in there with these children that have the special needs, maybe a time for homework with some additional help. The other area is our special education that we already have within our schools. Most of the children with disabilities and disadvantages are going to be covered in those programs with a pull in or a push out, that type of thing. But they aren't, again, we are not hiring permanent staff to provide those services for the children. We really need to look at not doing as many contracts and providing those services. And I believe that there's some programs that might be helpful for the children, especially the ones with, backgrounds that are maybe foster care, whatever it is. They should be able to get an evaluation. I know we have school psychologists, but are they in therapy? Are they going to need therapy? Maybe looking at outside resources for them. There's an organization called Healthy Kids, the program, and it does just that. It will come into the schools, evaluate the children that are maybe not meeting all of the criteria needed and they're having some issues. They'll evaluate them and they will provide that information for the parents. I think it's an excellent program and we really need to incorporate it in our schools. It's a Santa Clara County program. I'd also like to see that we can encourage involvement from our parents. When we have more parents' involvement and they're aware of what's going on, it's going to make quite a bit of difference for these children. Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are on to question 5. This one is back with Mrs. Saldana.
Question 5 is school finance, and we will start with Jane Stevens. Question 5. GUSD educators are some of the worst compensated in the county, and this contributes to roughly 15% of our educators leaving the district every year, which negatively affects students. Apologies, I had a timer on earlier. If elected, what will you do to increase recruitment and retention of fully qualified educators?
Okay, is that the whole question or did I miss part of it?
That's the whole question.
That was the whole question. If elected, how will you?
Oh, I'm sorry. That. I'll repeat the beginning part. Maybe you missed the beginning part of the question.
That's what I missed. I thought there was a little more to that. Sorry.
Yes. GUSD educators are some of the worst compensated in the county, and this contributes to roughly 15% of our educators leaving the district every year, which negatively affects students. If elected, what will you do to increase recruitment and retention of fully qualified educators?
Okay, this comes back to the financial issue again, and the fact that we are hiring a lot of contract staff. We need to make this have the wages for these teachers something that's attractive for other teachers that are qualified to come into our district, something that's affordable, that's comparable with what they could get in other areas. We need to also attract the contract, instead of hiring contract help, will free up a lot of money if we can hire permanent staff. It's going to take a lot of workload off of our teachers by them not having to retrain new staff every year or every 6 months when these contract people are gone. If we improve our schools and we have something more consistent with teachers staying in the district, we'll also increase our revenue, because chances are we're going to get more enrollment in our public school, which we have so many now going to charter schools and doing homeschool. And for various reasons, some of them will continue to do that. But if they see we have a good program within our public school and it's consistent and reliable and our teachers are there and they will start using our public school system. And that's what we want to do, is increase our willingness for the people that aren't using our public school system to use it, and the ones that are there to make sure these children are given every bit of help that they can get and the highest level of education they can achieve. All right.
All right, let me jump in. A couple of thoughts. Let me start first with recruitment. Early in my career, I worked for a large camp, and we had to recruit about 300 college kids for staff every summer. It took a team of us to cover 30 colleges each year. The word I want to use is consistency, because we came back again and again and again each year to the same colleges. We built the same relationships. We talked with professors and staff and became a known entity, and therefore a recommended entity. They knew that if they had a student that was promising, they could give us a call, and that we could find someone a place in our company that would be a good fit for them. I don't know personally how much recruitment in that sense that GUSD does, but if we are looking for quality teachers, again, we need the consistency of people who are continually going out and finding good staff members. I'd make a wild suggestion that even if it took school board members to sit on a recruitment team or someone else, that should be a part of the responsibility of finding great staff members. Kind of the second thing is in retention. The last 2 to 3 years, I know personally of 4 first-time teachers or service providers in GUSD that graduated from GUSD, went to college, got their degrees, and then came back to GUSD and worked for a year or two and left because they couldn't afford to live here. Again, GUSD has to work hard to address the living wage problems that we have for all staff. My personal compensation at church for up to a couple of years ago was tied to the rate of poverty in Santa Clara County. And eventually we had to abandon that because it just became too different. And we knew that for me to live here, we'd have to somehow put more money into that salary. So I agree the same thing needs to happen for GUSD. Again, this is where we're going to have to try to find something where we probably can't cut much more money from really any of the programs. If we do, those are going to be hurt as well, but to try to come up with some other source of revenue, if at all possible, or begin looking at different salary steps or at other ways that people could earn a little bit more money a little bit faster, at least at the beginning of their career, so they can stay and possibly buy a home if they need to, or become a part of the community at large. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go to the next question now. This is going to be question 6, again with Mr. Chavez.
Question 6 is also on school finances. We'll start with Mr. VanLaar, and then Ms. Stevens may jump in. Question reads, if elected, what are 3 priority areas you would defend in a budgetary crisis, and why? Please explain your choices.
Yeah, number 1, people over programs. Long time ago, that's a saying I learned in some of the work I've done. And at all times, people over programs. You can replace programs all day long, but you can't always replace people. So definitely would defend people. Second there, student services staff. Again, to both be compliant and legal, as well as to serve the growing population of those special needs kids. We need to kind of look at that staff and staff appropriately there. And then lastly, again, facilities. Clean, safe, welcoming facilities not only benefit all of our students, but they are sometimes the first thing that our parents or our community sees. and how our parents and community judge what happens at these schools. So definitely those three things.
Okay. The first area where I don't think we can, but we have to do it. We have to make the budget work is for our teachers. If we don't give our teachers a salary that's livable and they can stay in this area, we are never going to attract and retain our teachers. We also are not going to be able to attract those special need teachers, which is again a big cost. Our students, those are our priorities also. Well, those are our number one priority, and we should not cut costs where the students are. We need to continue offering the programs that are necessary and that are required by the state. And we can't make any cuts in that. Safety is another issue, and I brought this up earlier, that I'm concerned about the traffic issues within all the schools. I'm concerned about, well, the facilities, if there's unsafe issues within the facilities, although the majority of the schools have been refurbished or rebuilt within the last 10 years. They're in pretty good shape. But those are my big concerns. But teachers and students are the foundation for our program. If we do not put our money into those programs, then we don't have any income anyway, because the students are what brings our revenue in, and our teachers are what makes those students be here.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to go to our final question, question number 7, back with Mrs. Saldana.
All right. In closing, question 7, why should GTA members and Gilroy residents vote for you for school board? We'll start with Ms. Stevens.
Okay. Well, I'm very familiar with the issues facing our schools, the teacher retention wages. We've spoken about all these, the outsourcing, the deficits, this type of thing. I have a background, 30 years as a nurse. Prior to that, I had a business background. I know how to manage finances. I've done that in my career previously. And in nursing, the many aspects of nursing, I've been faced with all types of challenges. I think my 50 years of work and experience in raising children really gives me the knowledge and the skill set with my job experience to be on the board and make decisions and make them for the right reasons for the students, their number one, and our teachers. And I also have the ability to problem solve. As a nurse, that's something you have to do. I'm going to be a staunch advocate for all children in the school district.
All right. Why should anybody vote for me? It's a good question. Let me give you 3 reasons why. Number one, I have the experience of being on a fair amount of community boards with sometimes a lot at stake, whether it's millions of dollars or it's community issues that affect the whole community. So definitely have some experience in trying to work with people on a board, as well as to compromise when needed, and to kind of push back when there's something I really believe in. The second thing is, again, I have a wide range of experiences in GUSD, as well as a wide amount of connections in GUSD and people I know, and that aren't afraid to tell me what they think as well. Between the staff and administration, I think that I have a lot left to learn, but I have some definite wisdom in there from what I have learned, and would kind of start with on running on the ground with what I do know. And lastly, just simply as my kids finish their education in Gilroy, 2 things. One, I finally have time, but the second thing is that in one sense, I really do want to pay back what GUSD has done for our family. For the different teachers that have invested in my kids' life, for the education they've received, and for their futures. So it's 3 quick reasons why I think you should vote for me.
Okay, well, thank you, candidates Stevens and VanLaar. We appreciate your time tonight and wish you the best of luck in your campaign. Now we will be switching over into the Area 3 candidate forum. I see here we have both candidates, Harney and Nelson here. If they could just quickly confirm that their audio is working, and then we can proceed with this portion of the forum.
Hello, this is Dan Harney.
All right. Uh, Trustee Nelson? Michelle Nelson, you there? Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm trying to get, but no visual.
Okay. All right.
Wait,
So
wait. What's that? No. Hmm. Ah. Okay.
okay. We
So
may
I'm looking at myself and my cat. So
all right. So we may have to proceed with audio. I'd
Okay.
say is your answers which matter more. So as long as we can hear you, I think that is
Okay.
preferable. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. It's okay. It's a wonky connection day. All right.
yep.
So I would appreciate all of your time. All right. So we're going to get started on this forum. So again, just to go over the format. So each candidate will have 3 minutes to respond. Please try to keep to the time limit so we can make it through all of our questions. And again, we would like to emphasize that this is not a debate between the candidates, but rather a forum for them to introduce themselves and outline their vision for Gilroy Unified School District. We're going to have the same moderators as last time with the same format. Again, I will welcome Mrs. Saldana over at a teacher at Rod Kelly, and Mr. William Chavez, a teacher over at Gilroy High School. And then, yes, we'll go ahead and start with the first question.
All right. Question 1 is going to Dan Harney first, and then followed by Michelle Nelson. So question 1 is background and general information. Tell us about yourself. What particular experiences or skills have prepared you to serve as a Gilroy Unified Board member? And why did you decide to run for the board?
Great, thank you. And good evening to everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your schedules on a Friday night to host this forum with the candidates. I certainly appreciate it. And want to also thank you all for your service and everything you're doing to develop our children and to achieve academic success in our community. Some of you may know me. I was a former council member, was served on the city council for approximately 3.5 years. I've got 25 years of experience in management. So I offer experience both in corporations, management, and then I also serve as the board chair for a 501c3 that focuses on education and horticulture. And that organization is called Gilroy Gardens, and it's one of the largest employers in Gilroy for our youth. I'm reminded of a quote that says that leadership is not a position, it's an action. And the reason I'm running is because I think we need more leadership in bridging the gap between the Board of Trustees, the community, the parents, and the GTA. And I think the four of us working together could bring a lot of really good change to the school system in Gilroy. Second reason I'm running is I'm a father. My son is at Christopher High School. My daughter recently graduated from Christopher High School, and both of those children went through the Luigi Aprea and Brownell Middle School systems. They were part of a cohort that was the GATE program. They had wonderful teachers, starting with Mrs. Wanslow, going through Charlotte Patterson and Mrs. McCary, and all the way through their entire education. They were surrounded by excellent teachers. And unfortunately, those teachers fortunately for them, those teachers retired. And as we've heard from the other candidates, there's been a lot of turnover. And I think I want to help solving that turnover problem. I want to help with the retention of the teachers, and I want to make sure that we get the education back on track. So those are the main reasons why I'm running, and those are my qualifications.
Thank you. All right, and Ms. Nelson?
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Again, thank you for, as other people have said, thank you for hosting this on an evening after a very stressful day with technology. Feel for the teachers today. My entire professional life has been with Gilroy Unified. I started as a teacher in 1980 at South Valley, and I worked on my craft, learning my craft. I was actually nominated to be Teacher of the Year in 1989, so I did see the turnover because I had to mentor new teachers who were coming in, so I understand that. Um, there was a time when the facilities were not up to snuff to the way they are now, and that's actually what got me involved in the union. I started with a room at South Valley with 34 degrees every morning in the winter, and I had to come in and light the Bunsen burners to warm the room up. And the district was not taking the appropriate action. I contacted the union. The superintendent was going to reprimand me, so I joined the union, and the union was able to get me out of that situation. But then after that, I became an advocate for the teachers. And what the district back then didn't quite understand is when you're an advocate for the teachers, you are also advocating for the students because we were all suffering with 34 degrees. There was a renovation project at South Valley also that didn't finish on time. We were misled into thinking it was going to be ready. It was not. I took a tour of the campus. There were electrical wires hanging from one of the panels. There were pieces of stacked furniture in the cafeteria, and people had to carry them and roll them across uneven concrete back to their rooms. So facilities also became a big deal for me. So I joined the union. I was treasurer and eventually became president. I served in all areas of the association. I first started teaching at Brownell in the 90s, and then I was doing union work part-time. And then I thought if I could get released full-time, that would be even better. So I was. So for 10 years, I learned the workings of the district even more so than I had been as a negotiator. And I was a negotiator for 24 years. So I have basically teacher and union genes in me. My mom was a teacher. She was a union negotiator. So I brought that to the board. And I was asked to run for the board in 2020 after my retirement. I wasn't sure I really wanted to do that because I thought, and I had other people to run, and they had always said, are you crazy? Why would I do that? So I decided, okay, I'm going to step up. I'm going to try it. I'll finish the term of 2 years, see how it goes. And I liked it. Negotiations are very frustrating for me, as you can understand. But I am one of seven, and I also know about the budget constraints. I learned a lot now on the inside, and I also understand more about what the district people are doing at the district office, and they
You're
have to
at
jump through
30
hoops as
minutes. Do you
well.
want to start wrapping that up?
As a board member, 30 minutes or 30 seconds. I
Oh, wait.
visit school sites, I attend special events, I go to open house, back to school nights, choir and band performances, awards assemblies, award night for scholarships, graduations, etc. I've attended conferences with my other board members. I network with other board members. I've already signed up for a class. One of them is finance because I want to review
That's
that.
3 minutes.
And I just don't feel that I'm done. I would like to continue.
All right. Thank
So
you.
there you go.
Thank you.
Institutional memory.
All right. And
Okay.
I would say just keep an eye on the chat messages if you can bring them up on your phone because we are notifying of like the time limit so you can kind of
I
keep an eye on
cannot.
that.
Can you
Okay.
remind
I
me what the time limit is, please?
It is three
say,
minutes per answer. 3 minutes per answer.
I just lost. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't.
Okay.
I cannot pull up chat.
Okay. So
Oh,
I will.
wait.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I can
Okay.
add verbal reminders as well. Folks can't have the chat.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're gonna move to question two with Mr. Chavez. Mr. Chavez, the floor is yours.
Question 2 is also on background and general information. I'm going to start with Ms. Nelson and then Mr. Harney may jump in. Question reads, what are the top 3 challenges in Gilroy Unified right now? What specifically would you do to address them if elected?
Hello, Michelle. We can't. I think you're a little choppy there. You there?
Oh,
Michelle, you there? Ms. Nelson, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so we weren't able to hear that first part of your response. If you could start over again. Uh-oh. I think we lost her. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can give her a ring. Oh, there she is
Okay,
again.
okay, are you there?
There she, yes, there she
Oh
is. Okay,
boy.
we can hear you now, Michelle.
Okay, all
You
right.
able to
So
hear the
anyway,
question?
yeah.
Okay, if you don't mind starting over, that'd be
We
great.
approved, start over?
Yes, we were not
Okay,
able to hear
so,
it.
all right, well, let's try it again. Our number one job as a board, as institution, all of us, is to prepare students for college and career. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Can
you.
you still hear me?
You're
Okay,
good. You're
so
good.
board members don't do the teaching. They're not at the school sites to actually do that, but they approve the programs that lead to better student outcomes. So we evaluate the superintendent evaluates the administrators evaluate the teachers. So it is up to the teachers to make that happen ultimately. It's true that we have low proficiency in some areas, but we are making progress. Prior to COVID, we have been making gains and it is taking a while to recover. For the public, the best that people can do is to check the local control accountability plan, which is the LCAP. It's the 3-year plan that outlines the goals and the steps we are taking to improve those levels. It covers such things as absentee rates, graduation rates, student wellness, family engagement, and so forth. And the budget and the LCAP go hand in hand. And then the school site council at each school develops its plan for improving student achievement. And then people can check the California dashboard. So red is the lowest ranking and blue is the highest. And so the district has tried several things to increase student achievement. They have professional development, they have collaboration time for teachers, they have small group instruction, they have intervention help with YMCA and Youth Alliance tutors. They purchase tools, and I did that as a board member. Teachers were having trouble monitoring all the kids on devices. So I said, let's look at teachers to check. We revised graduation requirements for SPED. I had complained about that for years, that A through G wasn't necessarily what we should be doing. We have CTE offerings, we have electives at the school, we have an ELD block. Increase interest. So if we get the kids at school, then we can help them achieve better.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Harney?
Yes, there's no question about it that our schools are failing. When we look at the student scores specifically for trustee area 3, Luigi Aprea, 48% of the students fail to meet the state standards for English language. It's even worse for math. It's 52% that don't meet the standards. Brownell is at 59 and 67 respectively. And then Christopher is at 45. COVID was 5 years ago. And in that time since COVID, the numbers continue to fall. So I don't think it's a secret that we need to improve the working conditions for the teachers. They need smaller classroom sizes. Our board needs to listen to the parents. And we need to make sure that the three priorities we're working on, English as a second language, children with disability, and those that are socially, economically challenged, are attended to in a fair and equitable way without sacrificing the quality of education for the students that don't have those challenges. So I think the first thing is, let's stabilize the workforce, the teachers. Let's pay them what they need to be paid. At least pay them at the level of which the Santa Clara County average teacher earns. Let's at least get them there. Let's get the class sizes to the adequate class size. And then let's work on the parent-teacher engagement and the board-parent engagement. I'm reminded of the time when the student safety was jeopardized at Luigi Aprea. It was a crisis. Parents felt like they weren't listened to. Teachers felt they weren't listened to. And it just wasn't a situation that anyone wanted to be in. Fences went up. I don't recall anyone going out to the community in Trustee Area 3 and asking what would be the impact if we put these fences up. A lot of the kids in the community that use that park can no longer use that full park. So I think the three things that we have to focus on are, one, the teacher pay, class sizes, and then the third thing is we have to look at how do we bridge that community gap that we've created by putting these barriers up between parents, teachers, trustees, and the trustees and the community at large.
Thank you. Okay, we will be moving on to question 3 now with Mrs. Saldana.
Question 3 is about learning conditions. Question 3. Gilroy Unified currently has some of the largest class sizes in Santa Clara County. If elected, what class sizes would you like to see in TK through 3rd, 4th and 5th grade, middle school, and high school? Explain why. And we'll start with Dan Harney, followed by Michelle Nelson.
Thank you. So for TK, I'd like to see a class size of 20. And I think the teachers would look at me and say, wow, that's really wishful thinking. But that's actually the recommendation from the state of California. I would settle for 24, a TK class size of 24, and then gradually work our way down to 20, provided that we could get staffing for that. As well as for kindergarten, look at taking what we have today and bringing it down to 24, and then making step graduations down to 20. For 1 to 3, for grades 1 to 3, I think the goal would be to get it to 24. And then 4th grade through 5th grade, it would be 22 to 26. Now, I don't want this to be a secret. My younger children, because I have 4 children, my younger children don't go to Luigi Aprea. They go to St. Catherine's in Morgan Hill. And there's many reasons for that. But one of the things that I was looking for as a parent, and that I think that all parents are looking for, is how much access do their children have to resources in class? My children have a class teacher, and they have a class assistant, and they have class parents that are part of the portfolio and wraparound services that are provided to the children. And that's something that I would like to see, is a ratio of 1 adult to 8 students. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now Ms. Nelson.
Okay. All right, for the class size, I want to mention that TK does have a class ratio size of 20 to 1. There are 2 bodies in the room. That's by law. I am okay with the 24 to 1 as exists right now. 4-5 is 30. 32 gets a little crowded, but teachers are compensated if they go over that number. Would we like to have lower class sizes? Of course we would, especially as the kids get bigger. The special ed classes, it would be ideal to have lower classes there. Moderate is 12, extensive is 9. Sometimes the caseload is exceeded for RSP people, or sorry, for the public resource teachers, but we have compensation if you go over that. when the school district decided to go all-day kinder, I actually opposed that and spoke to the existing board because the model used to be you would have two teachers in the room for the kindergarten kids. So it was a half day, and then they would switch, but there was also another person there. So that made learning a lot easier and more effective. Also want to address the safety thing at Luigi. I actually attended the meeting with the parents. I'm open to any parent who wants to reach me. It's my neighborhood, 0.4 miles to the door there. So I have also advocated for more parent engagement. If you check through the videos of the board meetings, I have advocated for that consistently to have more outreach with parents because they are our partners. So I want to also mention that for class size, I was the one who capped the activity classes in grades 9 through 12. And because I was a science teacher, I saw for myself as a safety concern that we needed to limit the class size because I have had up to 37. I filed a grievance for a chemistry teacher at Gilroy High who had 37. And those classes were actually smaller than my room. And I lost the grievance because of this load. I don't like the load. It's in the contract. I have expressed my displeasure with this load, but it is what it is. Am I done? Is that 3 minutes? Are you there? Hello?
Let's see. I think you have some more time.
One
You wanna
minute.
One more time?
One more minute.
One more minute.
One more. Wow. Okay. So anyway, I worked on class size. That was one of my things. And I want to go back to question 2, if I may. Can I do that? For attracting and retaining quality staff.
Yes, it's your time. Go ahead.
You're preaching to the choir there. I've done it since the 80s and the 90s. As I said, I mentored new teachers. And at one point I said, I am so done with new teachers. We are constrained due to the budget. I have asked also for the compensation to be comparable to districts that are funded the same way that we are. We will never catch up with Los Altos. I did the same thing as GTA president. I said we need to have the average in the county. What I'd like to do, and I've said it out loud, it's not a secret, is to agree on a list of comparable districts. So we're talking to each other and we're comparing apples to apples and not apples and oranges or something else. One thing that I would like to do is have some budget committees set up so that
Okay,
we can
that is 3
evaluate
minutes. I'm sorry, that's time.
all programs. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to question 4 now. Back with Mr. Chavez.
Question 4 is on academic performance. Ms. Nelson has the floor first, and then Mr. Harney. Question reads, school districts in California, including Gilroy Unified, provide public education to the most diverse student population in the nation. If elected, how would you improve services to English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, foster youth, homeless students, students of color, or students with disabilities?
Yeah, I think I mentioned before, we have the LCAP, maybe I didn't, the local control accountability plan, and it outlines the budget priorities. And we actually have to address those students in those categories. Something that happened 2013-14, we had a change in how the budget is allocated to each school. It's the LCFF, and we need this extra money. And the extra money is if we reach a certain threshold of 60% for students in these categories, we get extra money. We got 18 million for this last year. And with that 18 million, we have interventions for those students. We have small group instruction. I personally went in to do tutoring at Elliott. Elliott is a high needs school. So I went in there twice a week to try and help with reading because they need it. Research shows that if you're not reading by the 3rd grade at that level, then you're going to always be behind. We have newcomer classes. We have people who monitor the progress. We have literacy facilitators. We have people at the district office who monitor this all the time. We have after-school programs that target those kids. We connect with the families. We hold special events. We visit with the kids who are migrants, and then they leave and they come back. We work with community-based organizations such as Rebecca's. So we are already doing quite a bit. We've also adopted some screening elements in the early grades to catch kids who might need the extra help. Where am I on time?
30 seconds.
Okay. As a private citizen, I belong to the Exchange Club, so we provide clothing for students. We go to Kohl's at the beginning of each school year, and we get the list from the district for students in need, and we buy them clothes. Where am I now? That's it?
A few seconds left. Time's oh, never mind. Time's up.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Harney, same question. Oh, sorry, you're muted right now.
Could you just repeat the question, please?
Yes, Mr. Chavez.
I sure can. The question is on academic performance. It reads, school districts in California, including Gilroy Unified, provide public education to the most diverse student population in the nation. If elected, how would you improve services to English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, foster youth, homeless students, students of color, or students with disabilities?
Yeah, thank you for repeating the question. As I was going through the LCAP and as I was reading and preparing for this forum tonight, I really had to sink my teeth into this problem. And what I was trying to understand was, what is the data approach to this, right? Which schools have the biggest gap with the ESLs? Which school have the most socioeconomically challenged students? What percentage of that do we have? And then how many unhoused students do we actually have? And I was surprised that many of the questions that I asked to other trustees or to the district office, they weren't able to give me those stats and that data. So, I understand that the top three things that we need to work on are the ESL students, the socioeconomically challenged students, and the students with disabilities. And I think the first thing we need to do is we need to get the classroom levels up to par. What does the state of California say we need to do? Do we have the right student-teacher ratio, especially for those that have disabilities and require IEP programs and other resources? That's the first. Second is, I think we need to work closely with the county, identifying what additional programs we can get. And then third, we need to bring the teachers in, listen to the teachers. They usually have the solutions. We need to listen to them, bring those ideas back to the trustees, and then we need to be working with the superintendent. To me, it's very simple. What gets measured gets done, and the board of trustees is going to have to give some really clear, concise objectives to the superintendent and to the staff to help improve these test scores. That's what the parents are asking for, and that's what the teachers are asking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to move over to question 5, again with Mrs. Saldana.
Question 5 is about school finance, and we'll start with Dan Harney, followed by Michelle Nelson. Question 5. GUSD educators are some of the worst compensated in the county, and this contributes to roughly 15% of our educators leaving the district every year, which negatively affects students. If elected, what will you do to increase recruitment and retention of fully qualified educators?
Yeah, I have a saying at my work that anybody can hire the best employees, but only the smart ones keep them. It's a challenge, right? I think, as I said in my opening statements, we need to get the teachers up to at least comparable salaries to Santa Clara County teachers. So let's start off with that. The second thing is, I really do believe that people come in for their pay and for their benefits. So I think we should also be taking a look at what are the benefits and what's the compa ratio analysis say. Are we at 65%? Are we at 80%? Where do we stand with pay and benefit comparison? Third, I think we should be looking at how much we're investing in professional development as a key area to keep the teachers. There may be some teachers that want to pursue their master's degree or pursue education, professional development and education in other areas such as management or other areas of interest. And then the last thing I would say is looking at the school systems, the college systems, and how do we recruit and attract teachers that have to do internships and converting those internships into teachers, maybe on a temporary status, and then moving them into permanent status. But I think everyone can agree that, we work for pay. If you can't put food on the table and you can't pay for housing and you can't take a vacation, why would you want to continue to work for an organization? So first and foremost is pay. It comes down to Maslow's, hierarchy of needs, right? And can you provide that for you and your family? And then secondness is belongingness, right? The second thing is feeling belonged to the community, to the organization. As I understand it, there are some friction points between the Board of Trustees and the teachers, rightfully so. The contract negotiations have been very difficult. A 3% one-time pay, to me, is good. It's a good start, but it doesn't show a long-term commitment to the teachers. So, if you don't feel like you belong, you're not going to stay. And then third, we need to really figure out what we do with the contracted workforce that come in and go out of our school district. And these are all things that, quite frankly, our Board of Trustees should be setting as expectations and objectives with our superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nelson?
Okay. Let's see, go back here. What question are we on? Let's see, we're on school finance. Yep. So, as I've said before, you're preaching to the choir here. I am probably the most vocal and passionate advocate for teachers and their compensation in the history of this district, as far as the Board of Trustees. I take it personally. I had to make sacrifices when I was a beginning teacher, and it took years. People in the trades can make as much as I was making after 39 years of teaching. They can match me coming out the door. I get it. I've pushed constantly, especially to change the salary schedule. I cannot reveal what's discussed in closed session, but I do my best to advocate for the teachers because that's number one. We need to have the teachers. We also need to have the classified people. They run the school. They are the first people that parents see when they come on campus. They maintain the looks of the campus. They change the filters in the HVAC system. They feed the children. So we need to look out for all of our employees. There is the 10% reserve that some people don't like. When it first came up, when I was on the board in the 2020-2022 term, I voted against it because the rationale had been, that we need it. I said, well, have we used it? The 10% reserve is now basically accepted by the board because it only covers 1.5 months of payroll. And the rule of thumb with financial advisors is to have 6 months of cash reserve for expenses. I also want to address that I was a teacher. And again, if anybody has something to say to me, please come to me. Nobody contacted me regarding the numbers. The SIPSs also have very detailed information about the number of foster youth and homeless youth. It's right there in the school plan for student achievement, so it's not hard to find. For Santa Clara County, for the comparables, I said before, I want to have comparables that make sense, not comparing ourselves to Los Altos or Mountain View. To increase recruitment and attention, we do reach out. The HR department has job fairs. They have Paul Winslow has connections with his colleagues, and the word gets out. We're on EdJoin. We are very fortunate this year to be fully staffed. Some of that is due to layoffs in other districts. We are not doing layoffs. So I want to protect
30 seconds.
jobs, 30.
Yes.
Okay, we can talk about, okay. So, and then benefits, I can't find it right now, but our benefits need to be taken into account. Our benefits are twice as good as Morgan Hills. So when you look at compensation, it's not just the salary, it's the benefits. If you're getting paid a certain salary, but you're paying quite a bit out of pocket for benefits, it doesn't do you any good. So we have emphasized as a district to keep our benefits competitive, not just for
Right.
teachers,
And
but
that
for
is
the other
time.
employees as well.
Thank you. All right. So now we're going to move on to question 6 with Ms. Aldana.
No, that's me.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Chavez. I lost track.
It's okay.
All right, Mr. Chavez, go ahead.
Question 6 is also on the school finances. We will start with Ms. Nelson and then Mr. Harney. Question 6 reads, if elected, what are 3 priority areas you would defend in a budgetary crisis and why? Please explain your choices.
I've had experience in a budgetary crisis. When the recession hit, I was GTA president, and we had a choice. And we decided to keep our people rather than to let anybody go. So we took furlough days. It was a voluntary thing. We worked with the state, with SGRS, the calendar, and our pensions, and everybody agreed that this was the best way to go because I don't want anybody to be jobless. And so everybody pretty much came to a consensus. We're going to keep the jobs. We'll take a pay cut in the form of furloughs. I would also want to keep special education services because litigation is very expensive. And if we do not provide services, we are going to pay the price, literally. Mental health for students is a top priority nowadays. Anxiety, depression. We need to make sure that we're keeping those services. So we have wellness centers. I would hate to see us have any cuts in counseling or social work. And I will mention the facilities. Again, the facilities and work conditions were very important to me from the very outset as a teacher and union advocate. And I would hate to see that happen. We are all going out for a bond, Measure M, and I would hope that the community will support us in that.
Thank you, Mr. Harney.
Yeah, so the priorities for financial impacts first would be the staff. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm going to continue to hammer in on that. If we don't retain our teachers, if we don't develop our teachers professionally, then we are not going to achieve our academic goals. And really, that's what this is about. It's achieving academic goals and improving the students' achievement and them aspiring to and obtaining, their academic achievement. So it starts off with the staff, it starts off with the teachers, it starts off with the support models that we have in place, protecting, preserving, and making sure that we don't lose the best of the best. So that's first and foremost. Second, I think, is safety. Parents have a deep concern about safety and the safety of their children. And that's probably why there's a big push on cell phone use in the schools. There's probably I don't have to say probably, but parents are preoccupied with the safety of their children at drop off and pickup, after school care, and what they see and experience online. And I think those are all important fundamentals of the safety program that we have to continue to invest in and preserve as much as we can in times of financial crisis. And then third is facility management. It's no secret that some of the schools are old. I wrote the notes down here. We've got 14 principals working at preserving the schools and trying to prioritize what needs to be fixed, repaired, replaced, or fighting for capital funding, fighting for capital dollars, so that the students can have the best experience possible to achieve their academic performance standards. So I think we cannot cut into the facility management. We're going to have to look at creative ways to extend the life of the buildings that are aged. And then the new buildings, how do we do preventive maintenance? So those three areas, safety, staff, preservation, and then facility management are what I see as priority areas.
Thank you. Ms. Nelson? Oh, sorry.
So,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, Ms. Nelson, sorry, go ahead.
so are we on number 7?
Yes.
I
go
will
ahead.
I will ask number 7.
Yeah, because
So this is
okay.
I'm sorry, I got completely mixed up. Okay, sorry, go ahead. Ms.
That's
Ms.
okay.
Saldana, sorry, Ms. Saldana.
it's a
Okay.
long day and it's Friday. So in closing, question number 7, why should GTA members and Gilroy residents vote for you for school board? We'll start with Michelle Nelson. Or excuse me, we'll start with Dan Harney, followed by Michelle Nelson. So there's our order.
Well, thank you. As I stated in the opening, I have 25 years of experience both in leadership, in management, in nonprofit, and in government management. I know how to manage budgets. I know how to make companies successful, and this by no mean it is not a small feat that I'm trying to solve here. This is probably the biggest, most complex problem that exists in our community today outside of what our city council is trying to address. So why should you vote for me? One, I'm providing you an alternative to what's already in place. You've seen the 5-year trend where our students are losing ground on academic achievement. That's generational. We're not talking about 1 or 2 years. This is becoming generational. And we need to fix these problems. And the only way to fix these problems, as I've said all night long, is to bring the three groups together. We need to bring the board and the executive staff together with the teachers, the parents, and then the community. And when I say the community, that means both the city, that means the social workers within our community, and the fabric that makes up Gilroy. And that's what I'm promising to do. I live in Trustee Area 3. I've lived there for 15 years. I know many of the parents in Trustee Area 3. I go to all of the school functions with the parents. I walk the streets. I see the parents in the communities and at the coffee shops and the restaurants and the gyms. Parents are really concerned. Parents are not happy with where our schools are heading. And so I think that when you look at the makeup of the board of trustees, ask yourself what got us here and what can get us out of here. I've provided you with concrete examples of what I would do to make changes, the priorities that I would work on, and what my agenda items would be. And then finally, I would say the most important thing I could do is to work with the other trustees. And as I said in my opening statement, leadership is not a position, it's an action. And that's what I intend to take if you so respectfully vote for me for this position. Thank you.
Okay, and Michelle Nelson, closing statement.
Okay. So we have a board of 7. Each individual cannot affect change by himself or herself. It has to be agreed upon by the 7. It is a slow-moving ship, granted. It is hard to turn, granted. We work all together now, and we plan to continue to do that. We also meet with the city on a regular basis, the president and the superintendent and the vice president of the board. And by the way, I am the vice president of the board. And I am trying to do more outreach with the city by going to city council meetings. So I agree, we need to expand our reach. We already work with outside agencies to work with the students. One thing that I need to emphasize is I did this. I was a teacher. I've been trained in negotiations, budgets, I have the institutional memory of what's happened on in the school district, what has worked and what has not. I fought against programs that I didn't think were effective. I continue to ask questions about what worked. I'm interested in vetting every program. If a new program comes up, I look it up online and see what the success rate has been. I have the time. I want to keep trying. I started this job thinking I could impact the relationship between the teachers and the district and the parent, and I push for parental involvement, and I hope to continue to do that. I just don't want to give up. The facilities, Mr. Harney mentioned facilities. We have a bond coming up, and I would like to visit the community and encourage them to pass the bond, because we do have to keep our facilities in good working order, because I've seen what happens when they are not. How much time? Can you hear me?
1 minute, 1 minute left.
1 minute. So this is my 6th year on the board. When I got on the board initially, it was a tough transition because I was used to fixing things on my own. I had been union president, and it was easy. I would meet with HR, I would meet the superintendent, and we'd fix it. When I got on the board, I said, whoa, 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 I'm just one person out of 7, and I can speak my mind and push, or complain or something as much as possible. But again, it is a team effort. And I challenge anybody who thinks that they can change the system by going into the classroom. Just go in there for a week with guidance. Just go in there and see. When I was at Elliott helping with the reading, I had a student who just arrived from Venezuela. Okay. Didn't know his alphabet in Spanish either. Had another student who skipped kindergarten and first grade. I asked him why he did that. I don't know. I just did. I asked the students, are you going to go visit the library over the summer? Nah. Well, what do you do at night? Well, my parents are busy on their phones. So a lot of this is outside of our control, and the public needs to realize that. Yes, we have dedicated parents who spend a lot of time with their kids
And
and
that's
focus on
time,
achievement.
Ms. Nelson.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, and this will conclude our candidate forum for areas 3 and 4. I would like to thank Dan Harney and Michelle Nelson for participating, as well as the candidates in the previous forum, Jane Stevens and Trevor VanLaar. I'd like to thank the members of the GTA team here. Just a reminder, William Chavez over at GHS, Haley Saldana, Rod Kelly, and Eric Davis, Mount Madonna High School. And to the folks who will be watching the recording of this, our GTA members, members of the community, I hope you were able to learn more about these candidates and their vision for Gilroy schools. And don't forget to vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.